Let's talk about Suzlon Energy. For a long time, this was a name that made investors nervous. But now, it's the comeback story that is on everyone's lips. So what in the world is behind this incredible surge? We're going to break down the anatomy of this massive turnaround right now.
It all starts with this one number, 539%. That's the staggering year-over-year jump in their quarterly net profit. I mean, a number like that doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. It's a huge flashing sign that something fundamental, something deep within the company has changed.
So that's the big question, right? How does a company that was, let's be honest, on the brink of collapse manage to pull off such a mind-blowing comeback? To really get that, we need to go back to basics.
First things first, to understand the comeback, you've got to understand the company. What exactly does Suzlon do, and where does the money come from?
Okay, so at its very core, Suzlon is the #1 player in India's wind energy scene. They're not just selling parts, they do the whole shebang, from actually building the massive wind turbines to installing them and then, crucially, keeping them running smoothly for years and years.
And these business pillars, this is the key to their whole model. See, manufacturing and installing a turbine brings in a big chunk of cash up front, but it's the operations and maintenance, the O&M services, that's the real golden goose. That provides a steady, predictable flow of revenue year in, year out. That recurring income is the bedrock of their newfound financial stability.
All right, with that foundation in place, let's look at the exciting part, the bull case. What are all the positive forces, these powerful tailwinds that are pushing Suzlon forward right now?
Just look at these numbers. This isn't just a little bit of growth. This is an absolute explosion. Revenue is up a massive 85%. And the profits, well, they're just off the charts. Now, to be fair, a big piece of that huge profit jump came from a one-time tax benefit, but even if you strip that away, the growth in the core business is just undeniable.
And this isn't just a one-quarter fluke. This number, 6.2 gigawatts, is arguably even more important. That's the size of their order book right now. Think of it like a pipeline just stuffed with guaranteed future work. It gives investors a really clear window into revenue for years to come, and it proves that the demand for what they sell is real and, more importantly, sustainable.
So this growth isn't just happening in a vacuum. It's built on a rock-solid foundation. Suzlon commands over a third of the entire Indian market, they have the biggest manufacturing base in the country, and here's the most critical part of this whole comeback story. After years of being absolutely crushed by debt, Suzlon is now sitting on a net cash position of nearly 1,500 crore rupees. You guys, that changes everything.
And it's not just their internal strength. The entire market is shifting right in their favor. The Indian government is essentially creating a superhighway for renewable energy. They're slashing taxes on wind components while at the same time making coal more expensive. I mean, it is the absolute perfect storm for a domestic leader like Suzlon.
And you could hear the confidence straight from the top. This quote from the CEO, J.P. Chalasani, directly links their own capacity with this massive market opportunity. They're basically saying, we're ready, bring it on. They are perfectly positioned to meet the insane demand that India's green energy push is creating.
Okay, so the bull case is really compelling. You got record profits, a huge order book, the government's got your back. But, a smart analysis always looks at both sides of the coin. So, with all this good news, what could possibly go wrong? Let's flip it around now and really examine the bear case. All those potential headwinds that could slow down Suzlon's incredible momentum. So, what are the red flags? Well, first off, buckle up, because this stock is not for the faint of heart. It has a beta of over 2. In simple terms, that means it's literally twice as volatile as the overall market. When the market zigs, Suzlon tends to zag hard. Second, and this is a big one, while small investors are piling in, the big money, the institutional investors, they actually trimmed their positions a little bit last quarter. That's a little signal that makes you go, what do they know?
And this brings us to the key question for any stock that has shot up this fast. Valuation. Is the price getting way ahead of the actual business fundamentals?
After a rally like this one, it's totally natural to wonder, hey, is all the good news already baked into the price? Have I missed the boat? Let's take a look at the data.
Okay, and this is where the valuation story gets really, really interesting. Take a look at its PE ratio. That's a key measure of how expensive a stock is. At 24.5, it's less than half the PE of its competitor, Inox Wind, and way below the industry average of over 66. So, despite that massive price jump, this data suggests Suzlon might actually still be cheap compared to its peers based on its current earnings. And it seems the experts on the street agree. Despite a few of those cautious notes we mentioned, a staggering 90% of analysts covering the stock are telling their clients to buy. That's a really powerful consensus. The pros seem to believe this growth story is far from over.
So we've looked at the business, we've seen the powerful bull case, we've acknowledged the risks, and we've checked the valuation. Now let's try to bring it all together.
When you put it all side by side like this, the whole picture becomes crystal clear. On one side, you've got this incredible growth narrative, record profits, a huge backlog, market dominance, and government support, all at what looks like a reasonable price. But on the other side, you absolutely cannot ignore the risks. The high volatility, that little dip in institutional confidence, and of course, the lingering ghost of its past financial troubles.
So who is this kind of investment really for? Well, based on everything we've just seen, the ideal profile seems pretty clear. It's for an investor with a strong long-term belief in India's green energy future, who also has the stomach to handle some pretty wild price swings in the short term.
And that leaves us with the most important question of all, and it's one that only you can answer. We've laid out the powerful tailwinds and the very real headwinds. We've seen the sky-high potential and the high volatility that comes with it. So, the final question for you to think about is this. Does a stock like Suzlon fit your personal risk appetite? That's a decision only you can make.